Yeah, 1, 2, 3, test. Need to get my pencil out. Fuck it. What's happening? I don't know what's happening. Oh, yeah, I need to look at this chat. Yes, rock guitar vibes. Yeah, the stream got interrupted. I wanted to adjust my mic levels and I accidentally hit the USB that's connecting my iPad to the entire stream setup. So, yeah. We got a bit delayed, but hopefully everything is running smooth now and the sound isn't clipping anymore. Let me know if there's anything wrong. The downside of these impromptu streams is my setup. I'm streaming from my iPad only, using my camera and just an iPad, so I don't have multiple screens or anything, and the streaming software I'm using is brand new and doesn't have a lot of advanced features. I can see myself and I can see chat and that's it. But it's working. We streamed for 3 hours yesterday and without any issues except some echoes at the start of the stream due to my sound capture card and my iPad were looping the sound through themselves. But once we sorted out how to rearrange the cabling, it went fine for 3 hours. A real stress test for a first time stream. So yeah, I have to learn that as soon as everything's working, I shouldn't touch anything. And hopefully one day YouTube will have more advanced features in the YouTube Studio app for iPhone and iPad to manage live stream, for example, from your phone or from an iPad. That's not possible yet, and that's why restarting a stream is a bit of a hassle. You guys aren't having issues with hearing a fan in the background? Isn't it too noisy? Because it's currently almost 30 degrees Celsius in the workshop, so almost 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's pretty warm. Hi Edson Rodriguez, welcome to the stream. Nice to see you. And for anyone wondering, I'm currently sanding and cleaning up the edges for the inlays on the Phoenix guitar. And I just stopped recording the video, or parts of the video, because this is going to take me hours, maybe days, to clean everything up. And I thought instead of turning on a live stream or some YouTube videos myself, I thought, well, why not hit start stream, because I've got everything set up already. But unfortunately the stream got interrupted by me disconnecting a USB cable. You're doing your laundry, Rocky Tar Vibes. Yeah. So no worries for my fan then. I can have it turned on. How's everyone doing on this Saturday or maybe Friday night even, maybe still? Brazil, we're 8 hours ahead, I think. So it's early Saturday morning in Brazil. This is such a tedious job. Hi Dalton Jones. Thank you. Welcome to the stream. Good afternoon. Wales, early afternoon, I think. I'm just doing boring jobs, guys. Hopefully you can see a bit what I'm doing. Sanding and cleaning up edges. Quite relaxing, to be honest. And I can practice my English. And there might be a bit of a delay on the stream, I think, because of I had to set this stream up on my iPad, and I can't set the delay, so between me broadcasting and you guys receiving it, I can't set it to non-existent from my iPad. So I think it has a long delay. You guys, let me know if you have any questions. Hi, Gibek. Hi there. Yeah, like I said, guys, there might be a a delay between you guys chatting and me receiving your chat, and then you getting my response. But what I'm doing right now, I'm cleaning up the edges for the inlays on the Phoenix Rising guitars or guitar. I'm doing 2 inlays because it's a very intricate inlay. I cut out 2 sets for both fretboards. I think I'm going to finish both with the same inlay, and after cutting it on my scroll saw, I need to make sure all the edges are nice and clean and as straight as possible, or as perpendicular as possible to the top surface, to make to hopefully create a seamless inlay. Oh, 10 seconds. Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. Yeah, the first test stream I did, the delay was about 30 to 40 seconds, and that was a bit too much. But it could be that YouTube remembered my last settings, the settings from yesterday. But for me it's a bit hard to judge because of the single screen I'm using. I don't have an elaborate setup, just a single iPad. And how's your day going, guys? Are you also working on a little project for yourself? Or are you enjoying the weekend? Or if you're over in the US or Brazil, on the other side of the pond, do you have any plans for today? If it's still early morning. You know what I think I can do? Still. Oh, drying machines. Could it be I've seen a video or an Instagram post from your studio, Rock Guitar Vibes? Sorry to hear that, man, that your studio got flooded. Could it... I think I can recall seeing something like that on YouTube, Instagram, I don't know. Yeah, I saw the video. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Ibek, you're from Poland. It's too hot right now. Yeah, same here. I just mentioned in chat, it's 30 degrees here in the 30 degrees Celsius here in the shed at the moment. It's warm. I've got a fan running and my window is open, so hopefully there's not too much noise bleeding over into the stream. But oh yeah, yeah, I saw it on YouTube then, Rock Guitar. You got flooded. Sorry to hear that, man. Hopefully everything turns out well for you. Not too much damage, and otherwise maybe insured. Maybe the insurance can do something for you. It's always not nice to hear. Oh, Dalton. Yeah, giving your workshop a clean in your garage, a clean up once in a while is a good idea. It frees your mind and makes the juices flowing again. So tidy up once in a while. Whoa, that's a lot. That's a lot, rock guitar. Hopefully you get your studio back up and running, and hopefully the insurance can do something for you if you're insured. Otherwise, yeah, let me know if there's anything I can do to help you. Edson, thank you. Thank you very much for the compliments. Yeah, Quebec, yeah, take it easy in this heat. It's not something we're used to in the northern part of Europe. I don't know for Poland, but here in the Netherlands, starting tomorrow, colder weather is expected, so we can do stuff again in our workshops. You know what the hardest part is of doing these, cleaning up the inlays? You never know when you're done. It seems I can always spot some little inconsistency in the curvature, or in one of the curves, or in the finish of the edge. And I wish I had a second camera so I could give you guys some close-ups on what I'm doing exactly, but yeah. Hopefully in the future, if I'm doing a lot of these live streams, hopefully I can one day add a secondary camera to my setup. One down, another to go. Oh, let's see, a lot of... Hi Owen, we're back so soon after yesterday. Only rain in Ireland. You must rather be in Poland. Well, let me tell you, Owen, you can do something in your shop. The only thing I can do right now with 30 degrees heat is sitting still, doing a live stream while I'm cleaning up my inlays. Oh, Guebec, yeah, here it's in the 30s as well, and it seems like Poland is going to suffer these extreme temperatures a bit longer. Yeah, I hopefully can get stuff done again this week or coming week, because I'm behind on schedule, because this week I couldn't get into the shop, too hot. You can see the sweat is dripping in my beard. Any cool idea? Afraid to mess up inlays or cool ideas? Well, you can. A good source, of course, for inlay ideas is Google or Pinterest. And usually, for any subject you're interested in, let's say, for example, you want to do a dragon inlay, just Google stylistic dragon or dragon tribal, and don't go straight away for the most intricate design, but go for a design that consists of just a few pieces, and start practicing using a jeweler saw to cutting out the shapes from maybe plywood or like I do from aluminium. Aluminium is fairly cheap and readily available, and just start practicing with cutting out some shapes from an existing design, as long as you don't use it on any commercially available guitars or something like that. You can just use an image from Google. If you're going to use it on a guitar you're trying to sell, come up with your own design. But for most parts, if you're into animals or something, use Google Images to find a stylized version of the topic you like to do as an inlay you're interested in, and start practicing. Start cutting it from aluminium and take scrap pieces of wood. And for example, I have done a lot of wire inlays, and this is a practice piece, just an offcut of black limba, and I tried to do a Triskelion Celtic knot as a wire inlay. It's just a practice piece, and because I liked it so much, I cut it from the piece of scrap, and now I'm using it as a sanding block. But with an inlay, just practice your inlays. Find a topic you're interested about, find a stylized version, print it a couple times to the size you want it to be, and start practicing. And watch my video, for example, how to do an what's it called? Dragon inlay from aluminium, something like that. There's an inlay tutorial on my channel if you're interested in doing inlays, and I think it's a great art. It really is an art doing inlays. Let's see, I love inlays. Steve, let's call it Steve. Good afternoon, welcome to the chat. I'm cleaning up the edges for inlay pieces for the Phoenix Rising guitar. I just finished a video where I'm cutting, or I just finished shooting parts of the video where I'm making these inlays and sanding down and cleaning up all the edges and getting rid of the marks made by the saw is such a time-consuming job that I usually do that off camera. But I thought, well, instead of going to watch some YouTube videos or listen to music while I'm sanding, why not hook up the camera to my iPad and start streaming. So I'm entertained while I'm sanding these edges, and I can chat with you guys. It's something I started doing yesterday and I loved it so much that I thought, well, why not spend my time making a stream instead of wasting it by watching a YouTube video. An inlay and an already radiused and fretted fretboard or neck. Yeah, that's possible. That said, you have to remove the frets. If you want, yeah, you have to remove at least the frets where the inlay is going to be, and a bit extra to allow for your router. So usually if you want to do a 12 fret inlay, you have to remove 11, 12, 13 and 9 at least. But a radius fretboard, most certainly. Up until this point, I always did my inlays after radiusing the fretboard. That's because I'm usually using aluminium inlays, and they sand down at a different rate than the surrounding wood. So to prevent any bumps from occurring while sanding in the radius, I did it afterwards. But now that I'm going to do a bound fretboard, so where the frets are hidden in the sides of the fret tang is hidden inside the fretboard, I have to do it before radiusing, so that's going to be a bit scary to do an inlay before radiusing the fretboard. For me, I know everyone else does it before. I've always done it after radiusing. So it's very well possible, that said, that you will have to remove some frets. And I think it's easier to remove all frets, do the inlay so you can use your leveling beam to level the entire fretboard to make everything nice and level and smooth again, and then refret the fretboard. Are inlays on a scalloped fretboard possible? Yes. Yes, I've done fretboards, not with, yeah, the inlay not where the scallop is, but I have done fret marker dots inside the scallop. What you need to do is make a very thick inlay, thick enough that it will still be visible after scalloping. It's tricky to do because on a 6mm thick fretboard you'll have to make an inlay that's approximately 5mm thick. So you have to make a inlay that's almost the entire thickness of the fretboard. Then you can scallop just like regular, but you have to take into account, and that might get tricky, is the deformation of the image you're inlaying, because you're changing the contour from a flat to a curved surface. When you're looking at the picture, it might look weird because of the deformation caused by the scallops. Unless you're not scalloping that deep, you might get away with it. But it's something to keep in mind, that your image might end up looking distorted. That's the correct term, I think. Oh, in my opinion, it might have to do with the fret wire I'm using. But in my opinion, I've used stainless steel frets, but they were easier to work with than the wire I'm using. I bought specialized tools and such because I was also afraid of how hard it would be to work with stainless steel frets. But in the end I wasn't impressed. I should look into a body cam or a head cam or something. For stainless steel frets, Steve. What I can recommend is everyone knows these kind of fret cutters. I recommend getting a one specific for stainless steel. If the stainless steel is harder, then this is the Hosco, made in Japan. So I'm going to show, I was showing it to my iPad, but you guys are over there. So everyone knows this one, the regular fret cutters, but I will recommend this one. You can exceed much more force. It has hardened cutters. And this is overall a better quality fret cutter. It's the Hosco TLFC28S. And every store, Stu Mac, TLC Guitar Goods, everyone who sells Hosco tools will have this one in their assortment. So I can recommend this one for stainless steel. And for the other part, yeah, I did buy these diamond. I did buy the diamond files. These are from TLC Goods, so diamond recrowning files. But as we discussed in yesterday's stream, I don't like these tools, but they will work on stainless steel frets. But what also worked were just the regular triangular file and the small little, how do you call it, end dressing files. And these are from Crimson Guitars, and they worked perfectly well on stainless steel as well. So I ended up using just the regular files. But I can recommend getting the Hosco fret cutter. Hi Damien, good morning. Good morning Australia. Nice to see you here. Yeah, the standard one dulls very quickly, or oh, I don't know if it shows up on camera, but you get burrs, nips in the jaws of the pliers of the cutters. They're very soft. They're easy to sharpen and to polish, but they're very, very soft. Oh. Coffee. Ja. Dankjewel. Chocolate. I have to eat this very quickly because it's going to melt. You did, yeah? I hope I pronounced it correctly. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, the Morinessa was a beautiful guitar, and I know the guy who owns it. is really stuffed with it. He's really, really pleased with it. Yeah, Guibek, that's the way to do it. You can buy regular cutters and ground and polish the front face of the cutters. Only downside is when generating heat in the front of the pliers, you may change the structure of the iron or the metal, and they might get too hard or too weak, and they dull very quickly. But that's the way I believe Crimson does theirs. They're just regular nippers, and they ground and polish the front face. And same goes with the triangular files. Just take off the sharp edges, polish them, and you have a nice triangular file. I know many luthiers who do it that way. No, chocolate. It's white chocolate. I love white chocolate. I know I'm Dutch, but I'm not going to eat a chunk of cheese with my coffee. I love cheese, don't get me wrong, but not with coffee. Let's see, where was I? Yeah, keep it cool. Just dunk it in a bucket of water once in a while. Annealing, that's the word I was looking for, yeah. Oh man, I'm getting old. Cheese and tea. Maybe. I'm not a huge fan of tea. And that's an understatement. I keep looking past the camera. The chat window and my preview window are just slightly below the camera, so I keep glancing in the wrong direction. Yeah, stroopwafels. I had one this morning. I think they're of all the Dutch snacks and things you can eat here in the Netherlands, I think everyone from abroad loves stroopwafels. I think that's the number one thing everyone gets when they're here in the Netherlands. And for some reason no one seems to like herring that much. I wonder why that is. Or drop licorice. Salty black licorice. I love it. Next piece. Yeah, put your stroopwafel on top of your cup as a lid for a couple of minutes. Or get your stroopwafels fresh from the market when they're still hot. Time to do this tiny thing, the Phoenix. Yeah, herring and roll mops, yeah. A pickle coated in a herring. Sounds strange when you think of it. Who's going to roll a pickle into a herring? Alright, I didn't know that herring was also a thing in Poland. I know there's the Swedish, in Sweden. They also eat herring, and sometimes they let it ferment in a can to the extreme. Can't recall the name, but yeah, that's it. Surströmming, open and run a mile, yeah, at least. Rather not open it. And don't open it inside your house. You can't live there for a week. Hi Swooner, yeah. Oh, you had some stroopwafels. You have some good friends, my friend. All right. Yeah, Steve, it's the fermented fish. Yeah, the Swedish surströmming. That's the Swedish fermented fish. Let's see if you guys can see this. If I'm cleaning that little bird. Yeah, I think you must be very hungry, Steve, to try that. Maybe if you don't have anything else, you're happy to eat it. And I know of I can't recall where it is. It's on an island somewhere where the indigenous people catch birds, seabirds, and hide them under rocks until they're all fermented, and then eat them. I can't recall where it is. I saw a documentary once, but there are all kinds of crazy things. For example, we here in the Netherlands have something. I don't know if it's in other countries as well. We like to ferment cabbage, just regular white cabbage. We like to ferment it in vinegar. In Germany they call it sauerkraut. So Germany also has it. And it's fermented cabbage. So I think every country has something they let rot for a while before they eat it. Guys, I think I have to put on some extra glasses. Very sexy headgear. No, sauerkraut isn't bad at all. I love the stuff. Either on a hot dog or on bratwurst or mashed with potatoes and bacon. Okay, I'm not going to comment on Steve's comment. Oh, that sounds delicious, Guibek. Pickles fermented with some horseradish, dill and garlic. Well, a pickle is essentially a... Is it fermented? No, pickle isn't a fermented cucumber. It's a young cucumber, but they put it in vinegar, I think. So it's not really fermented. Oh man, you guys are making me hungry. Yeah, vinegar, yeah. Sounds good, Swooner. Spicy pickles. Are you all big into food, or? Same here, Owen Kelly. That's that's how Dutch cuisine is as well. Just boiled vegetables and potatoes, boiled to almost to death, and then made into a mash. That's for a long time what Dutch cuisine was like as well. I think until the first dishes came back from overseas, from Indonesia and such, that and Suriname, that highly influenced the current Dutch cuisine. So we have to go to Ireland to get some good bread. Good to know. I will tell my sister, I think she's leaving, I think next weekend. She's coming over to Ireland for a couple of weeks for vacation. A smoker, swooner. Oh, that's fun. I also have a smoker. I don't use it often, but it's good. Smoking your own meat, your own fish, you name it, vegetables. It's great fun. And endless possibilities. What did I do to myself? I thought my regular inlays were a lot of work to get nice and tidy. But I had to do a bird. There's no such thing as too much ham. There's no such thing as too much meat. I should have known. In my opinion, there's no such thing as there's too much meat. Thank you, Jeffrey. Yeah, this is just another regular stream. I think I mentioned this in the stream yesterday, that I might do some impromptu streams when I feel like it, when I'm working on some time-consuming jobs. I just fire up the camera, hit start, and just start streaming. And it might has to do with the fact that yesterday's stream was awesome. For anyone who missed it, make sure you join next time. It was an awesome stream. It went... I expected to be streaming for an hour and we went on for 3 hours straight. So, awesome. I'm not expecting to see... same here. Yeah, you guys had it for, of course, the UK, and Ireland has it, their kitchen, their cuisine, heavily influenced from India, I presume, hence the curries. And here in the Netherlands, it's more the Chinese and Indonesian food that influenced our current cuisine heavily. Yeah. Nice big brick smoker. Whoa, Owen Kelly
sent a super chat and said, "Just a little thanks for all the great content and community building."
Thank you, Owen. Thank you very much for the super chat. I can't thank you enough, and it's also good to know that the notification is working. Did you guys hear? Did you also get the notification on screen? I hope so. It took me some while to set it up, but yeah, Owen, thank you very much, and I'm glad I could be. I'm adding some value and giving you some great information you can use on your own projects. Another question you send in. I know you said that right now CNC lasers aren't something you want, but maybe a small desktop CNC. Small desktop CNC, or like we discussed, I think you were away for a moment yesterday when we talked about that I'm considering getting a very good quality CNC, not CNC machine, laser cutter that I can use to both make templates that I can sell to you guys. So templates, I set up a template making service, a guitar design service, and start making some jigs for you guys. So I'm thinking about investing in a very good laser cutter, but it is an investment, and if I'm going to make that investment, I have to be aware of all the consequences it can have on the long run, because it's a big investment to make if you want to buy a very good, high quality laser cutter. So I'm thinking about it, and I've got some more ideas for the future to come up with nice things that might be of interest to you guys also. I can't say too much about it yet. Love to see you. Thank you, Jeffrey. Next time, please let me know if you are streaming again. Yeah, Jeffrey, I can't promise that, except for the main live stream. So the workshop live chats, I will announce those in advance. But like I said, these streams are just impromptu streams. When I'm doing a job, for example, cleaning up the edges of the inlay pieces, that I usually do while I'm watching YouTube videos or listening to music. Yeah, instead of watching a YouTube video, I might stream myself and talk to you guys while I'm doing these boring jobs. Well, they're not actually boring. They're quite relaxing, to be honest. But yeah, this stream is just something to keep me busy and entertained while doing them. Most likely sanding, because that's something, yeah, you have to keep your head at, but it doesn't matter if you get distracted just for a moment. I also have learned so much from your videos, currently trying to replicate your truss rod jig. Yeah, my truss rod routing jig. Easy to make, or relatively easy to make, if you're a bit precise for the width of the guide tracks for your router. You have to make them, that's one tip I can give you if you're making that jig. You have to make sure those guide rails are snug. So your router is snug in between those guide rails, but make sure you can move your router easily along those tracks. There shouldn't be, yeah, there should be the least amount of play possible, but I've also made the mistake once that making it very precise, very tight, and then I couldn't move my router smoothly along the jig. So that's something you have to keep in mind. Maybe hold a piece of very thin paper in between your base of your router and these two guide strips when mounting these guide strips onto the jig. Yeah, you're welcome, Swooner. I know how annoying it is when you finish your jig and you start using it and your router jams up halfway along your jig. And especially if you're using it for real, it can be a bit annoying. So it's something to keep in mind. And when making that jig, yeah, try to have as little play as possible, but make sure your router runs in between those guide fences as smooth as possible as well. Oh man, it's a sauna in here. It's 32 degrees. What the? And I started today with a headache. I think I'm not drinking enough. Ooh! I thought I'd lost the inlay piece. Oh my god. Oh yeah, it might have a different interpretation indeed, Owen. Yeah, but that's something I stopped doing, I think at the beginning of last year. I try to keep my, how do you call it? the consumption of Scottish brews to a minimum. Or it's not a brew, it's a distilled, it's a spirit. Or I used to be I'm still very fond of whiskey, but I thought it was better that I laid off for a while. I wasn't drinking that much, but I needed to take care of my health, and then alcohol consumption doesn't go hand in hand with some medication and with your overall state of mind and health. Same here, Swooner, same here. It's been terribly hot the last week, and the first half of the week, or Wednesday till Friday, I couldn't get into the workshop. It was way too hot, and luckily yesterday afternoon, so it's Friday afternoon, I could get into the workshop and do a live stream in the evening. That was doable, but today it's too hot again. But yeah, I have to finish it, so as long as I'm sitting still and the fan is running, it's doable. But my back is pretty wet. I built a truss rod, jig 2, I think. That's a good reason to crack a bottle open, Owen, when you finish your first guitar. Hartsy, thank you, well. Good to see you. Welcome in chat. Welcome in this improvised and unannounced live stream. Oh, Jeffrey, you're from Indonesia. Welcome. Currently, it's so how do you say this? 1640. So it's 20 minutes to 5 o'clock. Is that how you pronounce it in English? Telling time in English always confuses me. We call it 10 minutes past 5:30, but I know that's not correct in English. "10 minutes past 4:30, that would be somewhere close, I think. Maybe. And when we get into AM and PM, that shit still confuses me. Every time I have to do a time announcement, I have to look it up. We're so used of having 24 hours in a day. Then there's daylight saving time and winter time and summer time. I don't know. I wish with the age of globalization they would have come up with a universal time by now, and I know they've tried for a while, but for some reason it didn't work out. I'm sure Owen knows how the global internet time, they tried for a while what it was called. Are we still live? Or is there a delay or something? What happened? Oh, sorry. Space agencies around the world are now trying to decide on a universal... Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Having... might be a bit confusing at first, but... Or at least, instead of a moon clock, because we have a good system... always refer to either GMT or something, Greenwich Mean Time, and have a 24-hour clock everywhere. Yeah. I don't think it's bad. I'm not really confused about time zones. I know they exist, but for example, when I had to plan the stream, to set a time for the stream, I had to figure out what time zone to include in the announcement. GMT, CET, EST, ESDT. And so on. So I had to Google, to do a Google search for about half an hour, only to announce a time. And that's maybe a bit outdated or something, or at least may have an agreement in place that whenever you're doing business internationally or something, that you mention only a certain time zone. For example, GMT. Yeah, UTC and GMT, I think they're the same. Swooner, and that's what I meant. And I think there's still a bit of a delay between the stream and on my side and the chat. Okay, thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you. Oh man, I'm sweating, but I can't open the door to the backyard because of my pond. The filter is right next to the door, and that noise will certainly bleed over into the stream. Damn. I'm not even close to being done. Yeah, maybe you can take it with you, Swooner. A little AC unit. It's that I don't have the power supply at my shed right now to run an AC unit. But I've been thinking about it as well. And maybe a mobile one. You can always take it with you, and maybe having an AC unit in your shed or workshop might add value to your property as well when you're going to sell it. Might be a selling point worth the investment. Have you ever felt bored from guitar building, and are you always excited to build guitars? That's a hard question. I'm always excited to build guitars, but yeah, I think let's call it what it is, because it's not a secret, but it's hard to talk about sometimes. I'm not bored or something by building guitars. It's the pressure that comes with it that has been difficult in the past, and I'm now on the road of recovery from a burnout and a severe depression, made and caused for a good part by running this channel, and the pressure and imposter syndrome that comes along with doing videos, building guitars, client expectations, and trying to build a business where not only me but my wife as well is dependent on, and failing at that for my in my head. I was failing to provide. I was failing my YouTube videos. I wasn't certain if my content and my guitars were good enough. So yeah, and those doubts caused me to not really lose interest in building guitar, because that's the thing I love to do most: making guitars and making content and providing value in both my content and in the instruments I can make for a musician, for example. But it can get overwhelming quite fast. I kind of lost my train of thoughts a bit here, but yeah, I'm always excited to be building guitars, to be in the workshop, but there has been a time last year that I couldn't set foot in the workshop because of the anxiety attacks caused by yeah, a depression. Or it's a bit weird when it comes to depression and mental health. You can't point your finger at one specific cause. It's usually accumulation of different causes, genetics, your personality and such. Both internal and external factors come into play when it comes to anxiety, depression and imposter syndrome. And once you're in that kind of a loop, you can't get out of that loop. And one thing causes or influences another feeling, and that they bounce off of each other, and the only thing they really do is drag you down. And it's been a hard struggle to get out of that loop, and I know I'm still not far removed from getting back into that loop. It's still something that's haunting me, so to say. So I'm on the right track, but I haven't left the woods yet. So hopefully that answered your question. And if you'd like to know more, see some of my previous videos from earlier this year and the end of last year, where I explain more in depth what's happening, and also the reason why I'm building this Phoenix guitar has to do with my recovery from depression and burnout. Hi Graham Christie, welcome back to the stream. Yeah, I'm currently cleaning up the edges for the inlay pieces. This morning I've cut them from the aluminium, and now I have to clean up all the edges before I can do the actual inlays. I thought, instead of watching a YouTube video or watching a stream or listen to a podcast, why not fire the camera up again, hook on the HDMI cable to my iPad and start streaming to keep me entertained. Hey Robert, good morning. Yeah, I'm going to find out that life can be addictive. I know. I came to realize that real quick after starting this stream. But hey, as long as you're enjoying my streams and I can keep doing these jobs while streaming and have you guys as my company in the workshop, I think I'm fine. But yeah, it's something I have to keep in mind. Making content, live or video, can be very addictive. When the first thing you do in the morning, and I'm well aware that I'm also can also be accused of doing the same thing each morning after opening your eyes, checking your phone, checking YouTube analytics, checking YouTube Studio and such for messages, for how your videos are performing. Is a bit, how do you call it, a pitfall? You have to really keep that in mind. because not only for YouTube is not only addictive for consumers, consumers, but also for creators, and I think they do that on purpose. Feed the beasts, they call it. Yes, that's imposter syndrome, sure. Sure as a bitch, yeah. Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much for the compliments on my guitars and the stream. I really appreciate it. It used to be hard to believe for me, but it's getting easier these days. I have to learn to accept that there's a truth in the comments, and people aren't just saying that for no reason. So I'm starting to believe the things I'm reading. Yeah, again, thank you, Steve. It's something I pride myself on, that just being authentic. If I have visitors to the workshop or meet people at trade fairs and such, it's always good to hear that when they tell me that I'm exactly the same in real life as I am in my videos, and that's something I try to keep up. And I try to be. It is what it is, and one of the reasons why I started explaining what I'm doing and doing tutorials is because I noticed when trying to learn how to build guitars myself, there's always a crucial step missing in most tutorials. We like to call it 1-2 dragon, and that's a reference to those drawing books for children where they say, well, you have to draw a circle, you have to draw a stick, and that will be the leg, some shading, and the next picture is a fully shaded, photorealistic rendering of a dragon. And I said, well, I think I'm missing a step or 100 steps from the previous picture to the end result. And that's has always annoyed me, that when buying an instruction booklet or watching a tutorial or something, that there's always a crucial point missing. And that's what I'm trying to show in my videos, all these steps and the things you have to keep in mind and the things you have to be mindful at. For example, cutting an inlay. I can totally make a video showing you, oh, you cut the inlay with a jeweler saw and then you use your Dremel and you glue it in. And I can leave out the hours and hours of sanding and refining the shape. And as soon as someone goes to do it themselves in their home workshop and they use a jeweler saw and they cut it out and they see all the fringed edges and all the uneven curves, they're going to feel bad about themselves because they saw someone on YouTube do it in one go, just with a jeweler saw, and they had the perfect outline and the perfect inlay. I think that's unsellable. You shouldn't do that. It makes people feel bad about themselves. And I think my job is to help people with the process of guitar building, make them aware of what goes into it, the pitfalls they might encounter, the obstacles, and that there are some things that are difficult and that are scary, and they're not as easy as some other channels make you believe it is. And hopefully that comes across in my videos and in my on my channel. Have you ever bought? I always have to reread the entire chat. How do you prevent wood movement? To some extent, get your wood from a good supplier. Make sure it's they can tell you if it's ready to use or not, if you have a trustworthy and good supplier. And sometimes you can't prevent it. If you look at this video series where I'm starting the neck blank, it's the 3rd episode I think in the Phoenix rising build, you can see as soon as I cut a perfectly straight and leveled and dried piece of mahogany, as soon as I run it to the bandsaw, it bows both sides. And so sometimes it's unpreventable. And then the thing is, when you see that happening, let it rest for a while, and only start working on it when you're sure all the tension has relieved from the piece you're working on. And sometimes it means you have to scrap a piece of wood because it's unusable, and that's something no one is responsible for it. Sometimes there's just tension in a piece of wood that only releases itself after being cut or being worked on. And for a neck, for example, make sure, and again I will reference to the same video, neck movement in your neck blank. Make sure to align the grains in a certain way. Make sure it's quarter sawn wood with relatively straight grain structure, and then align the grains perfectly. And again, a multi-laminated neck has less chance of moving than a 1 or 2 piece neck. So always try to incorporate at least 3 pieces in your neck. With proper grain direction, that said, with proper grain direction and grain alignment, that should prevent a lot of movement. I think you'll find doing some lives will boost your channel. Yeah, interaction. Sure, I really love to interact with as many people as I can, and then a comment section underneath the video. It's all nice and I read them all, but it's very hard to get to know people on a more personal level, like the chat we're having now and the chat we had yesterday. And one of the reasons I started streaming is because of that connection with the community, and to be honest, also to boost the channel a bit, because I'm going to need this year. I really need this channel and my guitars to start working for me. Otherwise, I'll have to turn off the lights sooner or later. Yep, want to drag and love it. Yeah. Thank you, Peter. Thank you for the compliments. Good to know. I've inspired so many people to start building guitars from their workshop at home, from their garden shed, from the kitchen table, couch, bedroom. Good to know, good to know. Do you have a different inlay for the Phoenix? Graham. Yes, I do. This is just a single piece, and hopefully the camera will zoom in. It should. There's the little Phoenix head, so the inlay is going to be very, very similar to the logo you see on the videos and on the t-shirts. So no tulip on this guitar neck. It's going to be a Phoenix. Multiple piece inlay with some special additions that I'm not going to spoil yet. Partially because I don't know how I'm going to do it, what I'm going to do. I only have the end result in my in mind, but I'm not sure if it's even possible or if I can do it. Same as with the orange strips surrounding the fretboard. I really... Uh-oh. Oops. I dropped a little piece. I found it. And that's also a reason why I like to keep a clean workshop. If you drop a small piece like this, you can easily find it. And if the floor was full of dust and chips and such, I would have lost this. And it's taken me quite a while to make this. And you can see this side is still black, and it was the black side up, so it was nearly impossible to see on my floor, but luckily I found it. Chat different inlay. Can you say about wooden inlays, for example, ebony fingerboard and rosewood inlays? No, you can, when it comes to inlay, an inlay is so thin, you can combine different species of wood, different materials like aluminium, brass, gold, silver. I won't use stainless steel, but of course perlite, acrylics, epoxies, and you can combine a lot of different materials. And when you inlay them correctly and you use the proper adhesives, there's little chance of it going wrong, because it's such small pieces. The extension coefficient, I don't know the English term, so the range at which it expands with temperature changes is very small. Good afternoon. Hey Paul, welcome to this chat. Graham, cool. Yeah, Paul, good to know you're thinking about starting your first guitar build. Such a nice hobby to have. Your channel and T-Jigs were the main to that. So what inspired me to start building guitars? Alright, yeah. Yeah, T-Jig, another great, very cinematic approach to shooting his videos. I'm always very impressed at his cinematic style of videos. Not talking, not explaining anything, but just cinematic shots of him working on a guitar. Usually close-up details. I'm very impressed with what he has done and what he achieved on his channel. It's a big channel. Yeah, Owen Kelly, that's the time we're living in, and I think we're fortunate that we're living in a time like that, or at least current generations should be very grateful for the amount of stuff and advice and courses and essentially entire educations are offered for free online these days. And I think it's a matter of time before we'll see the first recognized, how do you call it, schools or diplomas or educations start to pop up on the internet or on YouTube. That when you follow a certain series and you pass an exam, that you can get a diploma from following a YouTube video. I think that might be the future. And if not, I think employers should also recognize the value content on the internet can have, or someone who doesn't have a diploma from a school but has similar knowledge, or maybe even better knowledge and better grades. Not really grades, but better knowledge than someone who did do a formal education. I think employers shouldn't only look at which school someone has gone through or which diploma he has or she has. Did I finish my answer? I got distracted. But I think, yeah, I think no one would have thought 10 years ago you could learn a job, a profession from watching a video. And like my origin stories, if you want to call it like that, it's that when I was a kid, that YouTube and internet didn't exist, that I didn't get into guitar building way sooner, because when I first showed interest in building my own guitar when I was 8, 9, maybe even younger, I can't recall, when I went to town to find components to build my first guitar, if someone had said to me back then that there was internet and it could be a profession and you could learn it, I think I would have been a guitar builder all my life. Ja. Oh, ik heb deze helemaal niet op.
Je bent nog wel een beetje lekker aan het rommelen en het vertellen.
Ja.
Leuk.
On streamen. Dus, ja. Coffee service. Let's see. Finish my first build. I've answered those questions, I think, Owen. With free advice, the internet, and my opinion on education online. Oh, Owen, see you later. Thanks again for joining the stream. Have a safe trip to the airport. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next stream or in the comments on my videos. Swooner, have you ever made your own pickups? No, I haven't, not yet. And take a look at yesterday's stream. I go into a great amount of depth, why and why not, and my reasoning for not having made my own pickups yet. Even kijken, Kosti, aho, hi there. How do you clamp 90 degrees fans to the Triton spindle sander? I have the same sander and had difficulties clamping my fence to it. Yeah, it can be a bit tricky because there's the edge on the underneath. I'm going to hide chat for a moment, hold on. Because of the edge right here, and what I do, I just grab a offcut, just a piece of wood, and clamp my fence to it that way. So just fill out the gap underneath the table of the Triton. I can't move the camera because I'm very scared the USB gets disconnected again. But there are some videos of mine where you can easily see how I do it and how I set it up. So you have to take a look at my older videos where you can see me using the spindle sander as a improvised thickness sander. But yeah, just use some scrap pieces of wood to fill out the gap underneath the sander. Who else thinks it's strange that you pride yourself in making stuff by hand, but then you keep at it until it looks like machine made. It's a bit weird maybe when you think about it. Or do you guys think it's worth it just spending so much time on something handmade, spending so much time cleaning it up that it's no longer recognizable as being handmade? Oh yeah, that should be an interesting build, Robert. Most definitely. Yeah, see you later, Swooner. Good luck, have a nice weekend, the rest of the weekend. And see you in the next stream. Oh yes, it's worth it. It's worth spending all the time on something handmade that it no longer looks like it's made by hand. Thank you, Phil. It's good to be back. It's good to be making content again, and especially these live streams. I finally, this is, I think, the only way of me telling you guys things and interacting with you guys what I wanted to do in a video, but video isn't the correct format to do so. You have to keep time in mind, and even with this Phoenix series, the current series, when I'm editing, I'm always wondering if I'm taking too long, if I'm showing too much or too little, or talking too much or not enough. And that's the nice thing I think about live streaming. I can spend the time in the workshop like I've always had and add value and chat with you guys. So yeah, it's great to be back and doing things the way I always wanted them to be done. Oh, my wife started feeding the koi fish in my pond. I heard a lot of splashing and banging. And I thought, what's happening? But my wife is feeding the koi. Hello there. Hello, Vasilis. Nice to see you. Yeah, Robert, I totally agree. A tool is a tool. Although I think there's a difference in me spending hours, days maybe, on a single inlay that a laser cutter and a CNC machine can do in a couple of hours, maybe less. It's something you see often on Instagram, and I'm always a bit conflicted about it. On one thing, I think it's awesome that you see an inlay being done, very intricate, very detailed, with a perfect fit. But yeah, it's done with a CNC machine. And I'm always a bit conflicted because I know it's not easy to program the machine and to get everything in certain tolerances as well. But yeah, I'm always conflicted. I can't even put words to it. Jealousy, maybe, to be honest. I don't know. Your coffee machine should introduce herself. Yeah, she was in chat yesterday, but sometimes she shows up in the video, but usually only her hand. I don't know if she would like to come on and join us in stream one day. I don't know. If she likes to join us in stream one day, I'll have her in the workshop. But who's going to make us coffee then? That's a good question. Yeah, Steve, that's true indeed. Now I know that something like this, the tiny little bird, can't be cut on a laser cutter from aluminium, because I've tried it. I went to different companies who said they could cut my previous Inquendo Guitars logo to do the headstock inlay, but almost no one could do it because aluminium melts and these thin pieces will just melt through. Maybe today, maybe there are new machines, new laser cutters out there that are precise enough to cut aluminium, 2mm thick aluminium, this small, but 2 years back no one could do it. I think I still have evidence somewhere. Yeah, they could do it in stainless steel. So this is the old Inquendo Guitars logo. Hopefully it shows up. Maybe like so. I'm going to hide chat for a moment. So this is the old Inquendo Guitars logo cut from stainless steel. And that goes well. It's only 0.5 mm thick, so very thin stainless steel. That worked well. But here's their best attempt of doing the same thing in 2mm aluminium. And it looks fine, but here you can see there's a part of the E is missing, if the camera would focus. Yeah, it has to do with the light as well, there's not much light there. But you have to trust me that there's some pieces missing here and there, and when you look at the back, it's a real mess. I don't think it shows up on camera. And this is their best attempt. And even with their best attempt, parts melted away. And yeah, it wasn't consistent. And the ones that did work out were so expensive that it wasn't worthwhile. So aluminium is very, very difficult to cut with a laser. At least this thin. Or small pieces, how do you call it? Thin pieces, small pieces. Yeah, you're right, Robert. CNC just gives me more time to focus on the more important details. How did I learn to build guitars? Same way you guys do. YouTube. YouTube and a couple of books. And I went to Crimson for a week to do a building course. Yeah. So, same as you, I watched a lot of YouTube. And I've always been making stuff. If it was sewing clothes, redecorating houses, rebuilding houses, or remodeling, rebuilding, how do you call it? Doing stuff in and around houses, kitchens, making stuff from metal, wood. So I've always been a maker. And when one of my guitars got damaged, the neck joint got separated from the body, I thought, well, let's try and fix it myself. And then I went online, fell in a big YouTube trap of guitar building videos. you all can relate, I think. And from that moment I started making guitars. Yeah, the camera focus. I have to change the settings on some way. It's supposed, this camera should be very good at focusing on something that's pointed at the camera, but I think I have there's a setting that I have to take a look at. I'm using just my regular settings I use for making videos, and just hook up an HDMI cable to my iPad and say start stream. So I think I have to make a custom setting for live streaming. Will it be easy to CNC the aluminium? Yeah, maybe, but I don't know if a CNC machine can go this tiny. I think it should be able to, but it will take a while because you need such a tiny router bit to do these tiny little hairs of feathers of the phoenix head, that it will take a while to do this with a CNC as well. And then you have a problem of the cutaways, how do you call it? The inside of the feathers would be round instead of very sharp, because a router bit, of course, is round. So the inside corners will always be rounded. Sorry, I didn't know it was aluminium. Yes, instead of stainless steel, yeah, it's aluminium, because I tried to do inlays with stainless steel because they could cut stainless steel inlays for me, but when sanding them flush, it would generate so much heat that the thin stainless steel inlays started to buckle up, and then you sand right through. I tried it a couple of times and I didn't have much success with stainless steel inlays, because it's so hard to sand down, and you're going to generate so much heat that the glue it not dissolves but gets liquefied again, so it won't hold on to the inlay, and all kinds of mess. So aluminium is the next to silver. Silver would be better, but silver is more expensive, and aluminium is a great inlay material. Does anyone know? Yeah, mother of pearl. You should be able to, some laser cutters should be able to cut mother of pearl. I think a CO2 laser can, but a diode laser can't. I'm not sure, but I've seen a specification on laser cutters that included a mother of pearl. Yeah, Paul Thompson, you can 3D print metal. But you always have to, is it called cinder it? You have to do another process after printing. There's some sort of oven it has to go into. And I don't know if they can print in this fine detail yet. Graham Christie, how was the Crimson course? That's all I want to say about it. Sorry. It wasn't what I expected. Let's keep it at that, because I try to be positive about anyone and not my personal experiences. Paul Thompson, you can tell your friend I'm not sure yet. There are two methods of getting the neck angle correct. You can either angle the face of the guitar and then route the pocket so the neck fits in the pocket and is at the correct angle, or you can angle the heel of the neck. Both are valid methods, and for this build I'm not sure yet. It's something that keeps me not really awake at night, but I'm thinking about it, how I'm going to do it and what looks best on the guitar. Facilis, you're welcome. But yeah, before purchasing a laser cutter, make sure it can cut the materials you want it to cut. And I'm still holding this little bird's head and haven't done much in the last couple of minutes. Yeah, this one seems to be fine. This one can go in here. And I'm using these jars not to lose track of any of the pieces. Oh, it's getting late here, guys. I will stream for, I think, another 20 minutes or so. Yeah, then it's almost 6 o'clock. And then we'll have dinner. So if you have any questions you want me to answer, yeah, go ahead. And do so. And I will answer them. But I'm going to close the stream at 6 o'clock. Because I know myself, I'll be here all night. What I promised my wife yesterday, that I will watch a series of a movie with her, and it didn't go through because we were streaming all night. And I really want to have some time off tonight. Yeah, Steve, the F1 Ultra, it can cut brass, stainless steel, and yeah, as you can see, it can cut brass because brass is very conductive. It accepts heat very easily. It doesn't melt as quick. And you can see it can cut up to 0.4 millimeters brass. But aluminium, although it's the softest of the three, you can only cut 0.2 millimeter aluminium with it, and that's because the melting. Aluminium is very difficult material to cut with a laser. Same reason why it's also very hard to weld. Welding aluminium is an art. Something about doing lives as well. Yeah, there are details in the live stream that would be too boring to put in a video, like this sanding. I put a couple of clips of sanding in a video, but seeing me do this for 30 seconds without me reacting to questions would be boring, I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's sometimes also the hard part of editing your own videos. You have sections you were very enthusiastic about when recording them, and then when looking at the footage they're a bit disappointing, or the other way around, something you think, well, that's okay, it had to be shot, and it turns out great when you're editing, but by the time you're done with the video, you've seen it 10, 20 times already, and then it gets boring, and that's something I think is tricky and difficult, for me at least, about editing, that with each rerun you have to do when editing a video. You've seen it before, you've recorded it, you've edited it a couple of times, you've selected the footage, and it gets boring. You say, oh yeah, he's going to talk about the inlay again for 5 minutes. But I can understand, I have to keep you in mind who are seeing the footage for the first time. So yeah, it's a process. And with these longer format videos, it's a time consuming process, because I have to watch the hour-long video 5, 6, 7 times while editing. I always say there's at least an hour of editing time in 10 minutes of video. Simon Duffy, if I have any advice of setting up a website for selling guitars, and maybe some thoughts on what marketing strategy have been successful for you. Very good question, but I'm afraid I can't answer that for you. I wish I could, because that's one topic I've been struggling with a lot. For a website, yeah, if you want to do it yourself, I can only give you an advice on the engine, or how do you call it, to use, and that would be for me Squarespace. I'm not partnered with Squarespace. I pay for my subscription, but I use Squarespace because if you're not good at building websites and maintaining a website, it's very easy, very good interface, nice templates that are almost ready to use. But as with many things, a lot of content, they don't create or provide content for you. You have to make sure you have good pictures, that your copy, so the text you're putting on your website, you have to come up with yourself, or have a writer. Use Fiverr, for example, to have someone write your copy. So the content of your website you have to provide yourself, but as an engine and a platform, I can recommend Squarespace. Their analytics are good. If you want to sell guitars, they have a web shop module you can use, so you can have an online store with them. I think for some countries they also provide a paying service, so they handle the payments, because that's a big deal when going online, selling internationally. So that's when you're using a web shop, and that's one of the reasons I don't have a web shop. Besides, I want to speak to my customers in person. Doing business internationally is a study on itself. You have to familiarize yourself with, or be able to afford someone to do it for you, or have someone in your friends and family who can help you with that. So that's when it comes to websites. When it comes to selling guitars and marketing strategies, like I said, it's something that contributed to my situation last year. I'm running a very honest channel, and I don't want to complain too much, or I don't want to complain at all. But when it comes to selling my guitars, I'm not able to. For some reason, my guitars aren't selling. So I'm working on strategies, coming up with things, attending all kinds of shows, but to no avail. For some reason, I can't sell my guitars, and no one knows why. Because everyone says they're high quality. Maybe the quality is too good, I don't know. High quality, they are appealing, they're nice to look at, they're gorgeous, but I've only sold a few, and that's mostly to a couple of customers that keep coming back to me, that have bought a few. But overall, I'm not selling any guitars, unfortunately, and I wish there was someone who could provide me with the same information you're looking for. How do I make an appealing website, and how do I market and sell my guitars? I thought I had a good idea on how to market and sell my guitars. But yeah, it's a subject that's something I haven't mastered yet, and I'm not sure if there is a trick or something like that. I don't think there's a trick, and we all can agree, I think, that for the majority of guitarists out there, if there's no F or a G on the headstock, it's not a guitar worth looking at. So that's the majority of guitarists. Then our guitars are at a price point that's well above the average guitar player's budget. So there goes another part of the market. And so there's a very tiny part of the market that's looking for highly custom art pieces, highly custom made guitars, handmade guitars at a certain price level you have to be at if you want to have a sustainable business. Of course, you can sell your guitars at the same prices the three big brands are selling them for over at Tommen or any Sweetwater, for example, but those are price ranges you can't compete with. As a standalone builder in a small workshop, the time I've been sanding this little piece is more valuable than an entire guitar over at Tommen. A Harley Benton guitar is cheaper than it cost me to make this little piece. So I can't compete with those, and it's not something you should want to, I think. So that's yeah, my thoughts about guitar marketing and all the advice I can give you. And if there's someone out there in chat or watching this video and you think you can help me or this community to provide some insights in marketing guitars for a standalone lonely luthier in a small workshop, yeah, please reach out to me, and yeah, we can talk about marketing. Maybe you want to help me out, and if you want to help the community, maybe we can do a video collaboration together on a subject like guitar marketing. It's a good subject, and something popped into my mind. If you're interested in marketing, I'm going to plug someone else's book, but there's a book out there over on guitar marketing by Leo Lospinado, and I've mentioned his books in previous videos as well. If you look up my video on before you start building guitars, I have a screenshot of his book. Leo Lospinado has written a book on making and marketing guitars. I think that's the title of the book. So you have to look it up. If you Google it, I'm sure you can find it. And he has great insights in the world of guitar marketing. I think it's the only book specifically on marketing for guitars. How far do you install the bridge humbucker from the bridge? The edge of the humbucker is, for my fixed bridges, about 8 millimeters away from the bridge. 8 to 10 millimeters approximately. I go what looks right, to be honest. The placement, if it would have effect on your tone before running it through an amp and distortion pedals and echoes and you name it, is so marginal that I think 99% of the guitar players don't hear the difference between a bridge that's between a pickup that's placed 5 millimeters from the bridge or 15 millimeters from the bridge. Go what looks right. There are proportions in a guitar, and usually when it looks right, it is right, because as humans we are trained to spot correct proportions, and that's why we have slightly universal opinion about beauty, for example. It has all to do with symmetry and proportions. And we're very good at pattern recognitions and recognizing proportions. Hi Papa, greetings again. Work on building reputation. Value is based a lot on perception. Yeah, it's totally based on perception. A guitar is worth what anyone is willing to pay for it. Nothing more, nothing less. Oh, Paul Thompson, yeah, if you can get in touch, yeah, drop me an email through my website, or my email address is usually underneath my videos. Or it's, if you want to email me directly, it's daniel@unquendor-guitars.nl. So thank you. If you want to get in touch with me, I would highly appreciate it. And yeah, thank you in advance. Yeah, I agree with you, Robert Tucker. It does make a difference, but what I said was that 99% of the guitarists won't hear the difference. Of course, it does. If you hook up an oscilloscope to the signal and analyze the signal, there is a difference. But in my opinion and my experience, for the time that I've worked with some professional guitarists, they didn't hear the difference. And like I said, I use about 10 millimeters, and that seems to be fine for my guitars. And I hope you can agree with me on that a lot of people, even professional guitarists, often don't realize these things. Yeah, most won't notice. It could be costly. That's hard to judge from. It could also have to do with your pickup height. I think height might be more noticeable than the distance to the bridge. Maybe. Might be a nice experiment to do one day. In one way or another, to find out if it matters what's noticeable and what's not noticeable when it comes to pickup placements. What comes to mind is the myth about the pole pieces, the adjustable pole pieces on humbuckers. This is almost tone mood territory, so I'm afraid to start this topic. But hey, we're in a safe environment. Yeah, you can't say it indeed, Robert. You have to have the guitar, but usually it's the height at the nut. If some chords sound off, and open tuning is in tune, and especially open chords, or in the F or the G region, so the F bar chord, the G, C and B, if they're off, it's usually the string height at the nut. Boring jobs are therapeutic. And what also could be the action at the higher frets is your action is set too high. Because when you're playing with an action that is too high, all your chords will go sharp. And if the string height at the nut is correct and the chords there are okay, but the chords higher up the neck start to go sharp, is the action. Most likely. Oh, alright, that seems fine. Then it's hard to tell. There was another question. Did I miss a question somewhere? Work on building reputation. Oh yeah, the perception, yeah, the brand perception, that's key. To go back to a topic we had at the beginning of this stream about stroopwafels. There's a trend on, I think, TikTok or Instagram of a special stroopwafel place in Amsterdam that people are queuing up for I don't know how long and how far to get a stroopwafel from that place. And meanwhile, a place just around the corner is cheaper and the stroopwafels are better. But just because the reputation that one place got on, I think it was TikTok, people are queuing up for hours on end to get a picture of themselves with a stroopwafel in front of that particular store. So it's all about reputation and perception. But of course you have to, in the long run, if you want it to be sustainable, I think, when it comes to a brand, you have to deliver on what you're promising. Otherwise you will become a one-day fly. So another wing, almost done, and yeah, maybe by seeing these small little bits you can piece together what the inlay is going to look like once it's done. And hopefully I can have a video up, not coming Monday but the week after, hopefully, but maybe, I'm not sure. Because it's going to be a lot of work to both make the inlays and then edit the video. So maybe I have to skip a week. Also because coming week, not this weekend, but next weekend is a quite busy weekend for us, my wife and me as well. All kinds of social calls to make. So I might have to skip 1 week video because of the amount of work this is going to be. Yeah, Kosti, that would be a good idea, but the thing with well-known virtuoso guitarists, they all usually already have a endorsement deal with one of the big brands, and they can't be seen in public with a different brand guitar. I'm not going to name any names, but I was at a trade show a couple of weeks ago, and the well-known guitarists that were attending that show because they were giving master classes there visited the show after closing hours. So when the public was gone, they came taking a peek at the different booths, because they can't be seen with a different brand guitar, and they can't be because of the contracts usually, or they're just too well known, and they require, for example, a good support network across the world when they're taking a guitar on tour. But maybe a YouTuber, an upcoming guitarist on YouTube, maybe that would be good to promote the guitars. You have to have someone these days that is also active on socials. Because if they're playing a concert for a couple of hundred or maybe 1,000 or a couple thousands of people. I had guitarists play my guitar that played big venues, big events, well-known bands, but the audience they're playing for are not there to look at guitars. And usually they can't see it from the distance anyway, what they're playing. So that hasn't brought me much. But I think someone who's active on socials, maybe a guitarist on YouTube, or someone who's willing to do a review, for example, that would be great. Wow. Oh yeah, guys, it's 2.5 hours now. It's been 6 o'clock already. Yeah, if you don't have any burning questions for me at this stage, I think I'm going to call the stream. I'm almost done with the next wing, and as soon as I finish that, I'm going to have dinner with my wife. I think she's about to call me to have dinner. Yeah, and I will be back for another stream, maybe this week. But yeah, as soon as I'm going to do another stream, at least a planned stream, I'm going to put an announcement both in the community posts as a premiere or planning a planned event on the YouTube calendar. So keep an eye on your feed for the next stream. And of course, coming Monday there will be a premiere for the next video on the fretboards. So I hope to see you all there in the chat. I'll be there at 6 o'clock Central European time for the premiere of the upcoming Phoenix Rising guitar build video. So yeah, it's been lovely chatting to you guys, but I think I'm going to end it right here, and I hope to see you all in a next stream. So yeah, bye bye guys, and as always, take care. it says be right back, but it's the end of the stream, and I'm going to let it run for a couple of minutes so you guys can chat to each other. But I'm going to clean up while the chat is still running. See you guys. Bye bye.